Yeah, big time, big time. Anytime if I come to a system, if it's got a leak, it's got to be straight on it, because it is a big part of our lives at the minute, especially the way the world is at the minute as well. Engineers need to be more aware of it as well. We need to get it out there, letting customers know that it's a big deal, you know, that it can be harmful to our environment if things don't get fixed.
There's information everywhere, all online, on government websites, and obviously your health and safety at work, you've got to follow it anyway. I think a lot of the older generation engineers can sometimes get complacent, and they're not too bothered, to be quite honest. But from what I've seen, from me coming through, it's been gas, 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 gas. It just gets hammered into your head every day. So yeah, I think so, personally. For the people coming through in the industry anyway. Some of the ones that are leaving the industry, not so much.
There's definitely a lot on it. Through all the sites that I've been on, there is a big emphasis on the release of refrigerant, and especially being at the time in college so far, the main emphasis is on release of refrigerant and how to secure that and make sure that doesn't happen. I do think there is enough there, especially looking on the IOR website, there is a lot on it, and there's a lot of education on it at the minute as well.
I would say that yes, the majority do. And the thing is, I think if you look back at the older engineers, if you'd had all this training back in the 80s, would we be in the situation we're in now? Would we have had to have developed all these gases we did? Because when you had 12, 502 and all those years ago, they were really good refrigerants. Now, if everyone did all the leak detection and all that and maintained the systems properly at the time, would be really where we are now. But it's getting that whole industry involvement. You want to do like a green thing. We know loads of smaller companies who are brilliant at that sort of stuff. And you look at some of the bigger companies and you're like, sort of, hold on, you're not doing what you say you do and all that sort of stuff.
When I was an apprentice, there were stories of refrigerant being used to blow out coils, refrigerant being used to pump up car tires. There wasn't an awareness of the GWP, let alone the ozone layer, when it obviously first was identified as an issue. Leak testing wasn't really carried out. It wasn't a necessity to carry out. It was only if there was a problem with the system. But obviously now there's a lot more options for leak testing, as we probably discussed with the students, the apprentices, everything from leak testing with a bubbler to UV leak detectors, ultrasonic, or even using the trace gas, but again with a leak detector. So there's a lot more options, and with F-gas now, the qualification, the 2079, the emphasis is on leak detection and the direct impact to the environment, which also could be the indirect impact to the environment. So hence is part of the whole procedure for F-gas when a system is being commissioned, that these should take place. And the good thing is now the engineers, the senior engineers out there are practicing this, so the apprentices don't know any different, which is a good thing. So yeah, it's on the menu now. It's a lot more prominent than what it used to be, in my experience. Yeah.
What the F-gas has done, it's raised awareness of what's happening in the industry, and obviously how depleting the ozone can be through refrigerants, hence why they're visiting new areas. So if you look at some of the older refrigerants, R22, 404, they had a very high GWP. So basically what they've done now is they've started introducing refrigerants now that's got a very, very lower impact, and eventually they'll probably go sort of carbon neutral. I think at the moment, the likes of people like Graham Fox and stuff like that, they're very, very restricted in what they can do, because again, they're at a level where they need more people to get involved with them and interact with them, and that's exactly what they're doing by using the the internet and seminars and meeting up and team talks and stuff like that, what they're doing is they're looking at companies and how companies operate and stuff like that. So like I was saying earlier on, if every kilo of refrigerant you buy now, you're accountable for, whether that's you're using it at one site, using it at another site, and it's the same with recovered or reclaimed refrigerant. So there's different vessels that you get for removing refrigerant from site and stuff like that. So basically what they can do is they can either clean it, reuse it and stuff like that, or it'll be for destruction. So, but I say, like now, if you look at how the industry's moved on, the likes of those refrigerants, eventually they'll phase them completely out. It's going the right way. It's like anything in this industry, if you're being policed correctly, and you've got the right people and you're all singing from the same hymn sheet, you're gonna get the right result, and that's exactly how it's going now. I think the thing is with companies like yourself, you're trying to push the industry forward, and that's the way it's got to be. It's got to go that way to meet, obviously, environmental impacts, energy. What you don't want is when these units lose refrigerant, what happens is they continue to run. They're using lots of excessive electricity. Like you get a unit where the condenser's blocked and not been cleaned properly. Again, it's going to use a lot of energy and stuff like that. I think it's a case of working with the clients and recommending them the best, and the engineers need correct training on how to clean units and make them run efficiently as well. Because you've got your F-gas qualification doesn't make you an engineer. It's a mandatory requirement for you to use refrigerant, but if you look at the industry as a whole, the level of training when I joined it, we've done a proper apprenticeship. We went to college. We've done a 3-year term. The firm I worked at, encouraged you to do overtime and work with the right engineers, so you learn as you went on. And unfortunately, even with our own business, you struggle now for time because people essentially just want their equipment running.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing as well, obviously, where the world's changed so much, years ago, you could take younger generation people onto a site and they could work on now. Now insurances have changed. Certain sites we work on, you ain't allowed on there unless you're 25 or above.